Yes, welcome once again, everyone. It's Cannabis News, a new week here at the Marijuana Times. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's May 13th, 2019. A lot of stuff to talk about today. We have members of Congress urging the DEA to speed up the application process and the review process for cannabis. Also, some international news out of New Zealand and Myanmar. Of course, don't forget you can get the show on YouTube, Vimeo, and Apple Podcasts, marijuanatimes.org. as well. Before we get to all that, first, of course, well, there it is. It was quick. Cannabis News is brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com. They are check out their organic, all-natural pesticides at nature-side.com. If you're growing cannabis in a state where it's legal, don't use banned pesticides, don't use harmful chemicals. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you are growing in any case. And, of course, grow safe and poison-free. You can do all of these things with NatureSide. Nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Go check them out. This first story by Jason Sander at marijuanatimes.org. Members of Congress urge DEA to speed up approval process for medical cannabis research applications. 30 members of the House of Representatives sent a letter to the Drug Enforcement Administration urging the federal agency to do more to, quote, speed up and improve the research application process, end quote, for studies conducted on the medical benefits of cannabis. In the letter, the Congresswomen and men point out that 33 states have approved medical cannabis in some form and have implemented legal programs. They also note the FDA has set a precedent for admitting the medical benefits of cannabis and its potential by approving the drug Epidiolex, a medication containing CBD that is used to treat seizures. Legislators say, due to the ongoing classification of cannabis as a Schedule I substance, gaining federal approval for more cannabis research will continue to be an arduous and long process, as Jason points out later in the article. Obviously, this is a good thing. Congress speaking out, trying to move the DEA along on their path to getting, quite frankly, to where the rest of us are on this issue, or where many of us are. Most of us are on this issue, we'll put it that way. But I'm the DEA doesn't care. I mean, I don't want to be too cynically blunt, but the DEA just doesn't care. They've shown for, 15, 20 years? They don't care. They don't care about the review process. They don't care about making marijuana something that is legal and regulated and mainstream. That's not their interest whatsoever. So the problem lies in the fact that they have the power to stop research on cannabis. That they need to be stripped of that power. Talking to them and saying, oh, will you please, kind of come along with us on this journey, that really hasn't worked. The DEA does not be involved in this process at all. What does the DEA know about marijuana research? Why are they involved in any way possible over marijuana research in this country? Simply because it's a quote-unquote drug, so the DEA should have jurisdiction? I don't buy that. And it's a problem. It's a problem that has led directly to less research than could have been done because this agency, which knows nothing about research, has no interest in research, is not even their job to even worry about who is researching, who is not researching, and what they're doing for research. I thought the DEA was for, to enforce drug laws. But here they are in this other area deciding on whether or not scientists can, handle marijuana and write papers about it. That's, God forbid, some scientists have some marijuana and write some papers. That's a problem in this country. There's too many scientists, too many papers. Come on. Down with the science and down with the papers. It's enough. Peer-reviewed journals, all that stuff, controlled studies. No. DEA says no. They're in control here. This next story for Marijuana Moment. New Zealand government releases details of marijuana legalization referendum. Details about legislative plans to legalize and regulate marijuana in New Zealand were released last week. The three political parties who are part of a minority government coalition agreed to basic elements of a referendum to allow for the use, possession, sale, and cultivation of cannabis for adults 20 and older, which is set to appear on New Zealand's 2020 ballot, which would people go to the polls in June of 2020. Justice Minister Andrew Little confirmed in a press release that the measure will be binding, meaning that if voters approve the measure, the government will be obliged to follow through on the voters' will. The proposal will allow for limited home cultivation in licensed areas where people can consume marijuana socially. It will also include restrictions on advertising. Officials are now empowered to draft the legislation with stakeholder input. and the Electoral Commission will draft the referendum question to appear on the ballot, Little said in a press release. He continued, the voters' choice will be binding because all of the parties that make up the current government have committed to abide by the outcome. So we'll see what happens if you're in New Zealand. Well, this is it. This is your moment. If you're a cannabis activist in New Zealand and you're fighting for legalization, this is your moment to shine. You leave it all on the field. It's the fourth quarter. There's 5 seconds left. You need a field goal home run. There's a lot. Just mash up a bunch of sports metaphors. It basically boils down to, now's the time to get it done. Continuing the international scene, Myanmar extends detention of American accused of growing pot. It's an AP story. A Myanmar court allowed police to detain an American entrepreneur accused of operating a marijuana plantation for 2 more weeks while he is investigated. John Frederick Todorski, and 2 Myanmar co-workers, I'm sorry, I obliterated that name, appeared in court in Mandalay Region's Mingyan district for the first time since their April 23 arrests. They can face charges carrying penalties of up to 10 years imprisonment. For their part, plantation operation 3M Nutraceutical Company said in an April 26 statement that the plants are actually hemp, and this project was approved by the Mandalay Region government last August for research and development purposes. Myanmar's anti-drug agency said that they got 349,000 marijuana plants, 5,200 seedlings, 838 pounds of marijuana seeds, 64 ounces of marijuana oil, chemicals, and equipment were found when the 20-acre plantation on an industrial estate in central Myanmar was raided. 349,000 marijuana plants. I find it hard to encompass in my mind what the size of that would be, but it would be, without understating things too much, quite large, I would assume. The company said its work is focused on hemp, which can be processed into CBD. King Mang Than, a lawyer representing Todorki, and his 2 colleagues insisted they had been growing hemp, which is why the project had been approved. All I can say is they better hope that they're right, that it's a government-approved hemp operation, and that's what they were growing. Because I got to be honest, 10 years in a prison in Myanmar doesn't sound great. It sounds, again, at the risk of understating it, downright unpleasant. I can't imagine 10 years in a prison that's not in Myanmar. But I can't imagine you get into Myanmar and the level of prison hospitality just rises considerably. I doubt it. Not to sound, xenophobic or whatever. I may be wrong. Myanmar might have the finest prisons in the world. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I doubt it. I'm just saying. I don't think it's going to be I don't think 10 years in a prison in Myanmar is a pleasant experience. I don't think it's something you want to do. That's the point. I think we can all agree that we like to avoid that outcome. Whether these guys do or not, well, I guess it remains to be seen. We'll continue to update you on those stories and more here on Cannabis News 5 days a week at marijuanatimes.org. Subscribe on YouTube. Click that notification bell so you know when new episodes have dropped. You can also check out the audio version on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for watching and listening and liking and sharing and all the things you do to help spread the word about cannabis with this show and help people find this show. It's awesome. You're awesome for helping us out. And thanks for watching and listening today. And we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.